Hi guys, Brooklyn Dad here. Today is Wednesday, July 6th. It's well, that's at least what it's here in New Zealand. I'm here at the Sylvia Park Mall in Auckland, and it's a day after the devastating events, the shooting that took place in Highland Park in America. And I'm here at the mall asking local New Zealanders how they feel about the state of politics in America. Do they matter or are they irrelevant? Let's take a look. Okay, we are here speaking with, what's your name?
James.
James, are you from New Zealand?
Yes.
Good to meet you, my friend. If you had to pick a party, would you consider yourself more Labour or National?
I honestly can't know.
Is that a tough question?
It's a tough question for me. I've been so adamant about staying away from it, but I don't know. It's sort of hard. It's a hard one. It's a hard one. I feel like there are things on both parties that are good and bad. So I mean, I think the current government's done a pretty good job. So I mean, I think I'd probably go Labour just because you didn't want to interrupt their momentum, I guess.
Folks, just so you understand, our friend James here has said Labour, which is probably closest to our Democratic Party or the Liberal Party.
Yeah.
Great. Good afternoon, sir. Can I get your name, please?
Mr. Laine, Laille.
How do you pronounce that?
Laille.
Laile?
Laine, yeah.
Laile, it's nice to meet you. And you said you are from Tahiti, right? But you're visiting here in New Zealand. Would you consider yourself more of a conservative or more liberal?
Conservative. Yeah.
Conservative?
Yeah.
Okay.
Democrat, yeah.
Okay. Could you tell me your name, please?
Anika Kahu.
Anika
Kahu?
Kahu. Excellent. Are you from New Zealand?
Yes.
Okay. Born and raised here?
Yes.
Excellent. If you had to pick one of the political parties, would you feel you're closer to Labour or closer to National?
Closer to Labour.
Labour.
Yeah.
Okay. If you had to choose a party to be affiliated with, would that be Labour or National?
Probably neither. I have to choose one of those two.
I wasn't even aware that you had a whole lot more.
Do you want the whole rundown?
You can tell me which party you're closest to.
I'm probably most closely aligned to our Green Party.
The Green Party.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a great answer. State your name, please.
Shantae.
Shantae?
Yeah.
Thank you, Shantae. If you had to choose a party, would you be closer to Labour or closer to National?
Probably closer to Labour, but more so Green Party is probably the one that I definitely admire the most.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Question number one, how much attention do you pay to politics here in New Zealand, local politics?
I try to stay away from it, honestly. It's too controversial. It tears people apart, so I stay away from it.
I wouldn't say a huge percent. I'd say I do watch the news, but I wouldn't say I'm really into politics.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I wouldn't say I know a huge lot.
Quite a bit of attention.
Okay.
Are you going to cut this together?
What's that?
Are you going to cut this together?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Should
yeah.
I look at you or the camera?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
Close enough for the things that I'm interested in.
Now, how much attention do you pay to stuff happening in America?
I would political wise.
Yeah.
I feel like we do get a lot of it here. So I would say not as much as some people, but I definitely pay attention to, whenever election comes along and whenever new laws get made. Yeah. So I mean, it's usually big. So yeah, we hear about it.
Pay attention to lots of problems in America.
Somewhat know what's going on with social media and stuff, things like TikTok, and they keep you updated with obviously things like the abortion rights, the mass shootings and things like that in America. So yeah, we hear a lot about that through social media.
Wow. Okay. So not even on the news, mostly through TikTok.
Mostly TikTok, yeah.
Quite closely, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I guess it's hard to avoid. It's all over Instagram and everything. So
Where's your primary source of news?
definitely Instagram.
Instagram.
Yeah.
So not like Sky News or Al Jazeera or CNN.
Yeah. Usually Instagram and
Instagram.
yeah, the party pages on Instagram.
Okay. What is the main story that you are most familiar with off the top of your head coming out of America right now?
Abortion laws.
The abortion. And what do you know about it?
That they're banning abortion in majority of America. Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Outraged. Definitely outraged. Angry for all women.
Recently.
Oh yeah, it would be the abortion law, the Roe v. Wade. That'll be the big one. That's fairly recent, yeah.
Where do you land? Where do you stand on that issue?
Personally, I think that I mean I'm definitely pro-abortion. I'm definitely pro. I feel like there are a lot of benefits, and it's a rights issue. So definitely, I'm pro-abortion on that count.
Have you heard about the gun violence
Yes, I have.
problem in America?
Yes.
Are you aware of the shooting that happened? I think it was yesterday.
No, not yesterday. Not yesterday.
Yesterday, America celebrated its 4th of July, and there was a parade, and 6 people were murdered by gun.
Wow.
Would you be surprised to see stuff like that happening here in New Zealand?
I would be incredibly surprised to see that stuff, considering what happened a few years ago with Christchurch. Yeah, I mean, we took a big action against guns, but yeah, that stuff just doesn't happen here.
About 1 week ago,
Yeah?
so, I'm for abortion.
You're in favor of
No, abortion, yeah.
a woman having a right to choose. Okay. But you're conservative. That's very interesting. Okay.
Probably the abortion rights thing. Yeah, the Roe versus Wade.
How do you feel about it?
I think it's absolutely devastating. And not only have women's rights been taken away, that's personal rights for your own body, and a lot of people don't realise the struggles that women go through having kids and things like that, or situations that we're put in, such as like social situations, rape, stuff like that.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's quite heartbreaking for America.
What have you heard about gun violence in America?
I heard it's quite bad over there.
Yeah.
I was watching a video recently on them talking about trying to get guns made, or illegal in some places, trying to get rid of that gun policy, which I think should happen. It would help a lot of the mass shootings over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely the Roe vs. Wade. It's a Supreme Court decision. Also, always gun violence and mass shootings comes through a lot.
Yeah.
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 Some action on climate change and things like that are being discussed.
Climate change. Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably about it for me.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
All right. Last question for you. In the grand scheme of things, how important are the current events that take place in America as far as how they relate to New Zealand? Are they important, and the rest of the world? Are they important, or are they irrelevant?
I feel like it's important. America does have a huge impact on the rest of the world. And obviously there are some people that have American family or American friends. I mean, we're all sort of connected as one, so I do feel like they have a huge impact. So I think it's definitely relevant, definitely important, whatever happens in America.
It definitely matters, right? America's still got a huge cultural footprint. They export a lot of culture. So especially things that will become themes in like TV shows and things in the United States will definitely land here. We got the same Netflix programs, right? Some things maybe they're more relevant than others. The gun laws thing, for example, we're kind of just looking at America being like, what are you doing? But it doesn't actually affect us directly. We made our own decisions on that.
Right.
Whereas the Roe versus Wade thing, I think a lot of women are feeling like, hey, if it could happen there, maybe it could happen here as well, you know? So they're worried that maybe the US is just the first in what could become something that happens culturally, internationally, yeah. So.
I think so, because I think like America is they're trailblazing for the West, like they lead the way and a lot of other countries follow suit. So I think it is important, especially when you are basically the leader of the free world, as in America, that you, I don't know, it's just like your actions will have repercussions on little smaller countries like Australia and New Zealand. I mean, because they will see what you're doing and they will, you know, try to replicate that.
I think they're very important. I think what happens in another country affects the rest of the world. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of people in New Zealand, like there's people on TikTok from New Zealand offering their homes to people in America to come in and abort their babies and stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think it affects the world greatly. And I think everybody, you know, especially if you're that same gender type thing, you feel that, you feel that kind of, what would you say, you feel the empathy and the sadness, and you know, you feel for them. So yeah, it does affect the rest of the world. And at the end of the day, we're all one people. We're all supposed to love each other and, you know, look out for one another, and I think that's the way the world should be.
This was an interesting exercise. I was looking for a diverse spread of people from different backgrounds with different beliefs, and it was tough to get people to stop for the guy with the Brooklyn accent, huh? Stop, hey, let me talk to you. You know, they didn't want to talk. So the people that I did get, you know, they were fairly different enough for this to still work as an exercise. I've always felt like we Americans were kind of self-centered, you know, like the whole world revolves around us and, you know, what we do matters. And I kind of wanted to put that theory, that belief to the test. I wanted to see if that was true here in New Zealand. You know, what do people think about what's happening in America? Do they care? You know, do they notice? Does it matter? And, you know, what I found was that people who don't even watch politics for New Zealand are aware of what's happening here in America. Even some conservatives care about abortion rights, which I thought that was peculiar. Overall, the general consensus was that the world is watching America. We are kind of the trailblazers for democracy. And right now, we are still, believe it or not, we are still that shining light on a hill. That's still us. But we're kind of failing. Our light is flickering. And we need to make sure that we do everything we can to save that light. And the only way to do that right now, you know, it's going to sound like cliche, but yeah, we have to elect more Democrats, because the people who are running around crazy, the Marjorie Taylor Greens, the Matt Gaetzes, the Lauren Boeberts, the dangerous ones, the Jim Jordans, they are the ones that are screwing our democracy and embarrassing us, like that, you know, that third cousin that you don't want to admit is part of your family, but he is, but nobody likes to talk about him. You know, they're making the rest of us look bad. And God forbid our democracy turns into something ugly, and then it spreads to the rest of the world. So it's up to us to hold the line. And this November, we got to get out there and vote for Democrats. Republicans are not interested in legislating. They're just interested in making a name for themselves, being as crazy as possible, being as Trump as possible. And that shit just doesn't work for a democracy. Peace.